Coming up on show 558, the Porsche Taycan interior is revealed. Good news for passengers. Volvo's plug-in hybrids expand, and a Tesla suspension update. And on the show today, we're talking about Sandy Munro having more praise for Tesla. BYD are profiting from EVs, and members of parliament in this country are calling for a ban on ICE cars. Those stories and more coming up on today's show. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're listening in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily. This is your edition for Thursday, the 22nd of August, 2019. My name is Martyn Lee, and this is what you missed in the last 24 hours in the world of electric vehicles. Thank you, as always, to myev.com for helping make this show in the USA. They've done a redesign of their website, their marketplace. Not only is it even easier now for you to buy and sell your electric cars in the USA, but also if you are in the business of selling them professionally, dealerships, a new partnership with dealers as well. Go check it out. Welcome to a new executive producer of this show, SABBY the Cat. Yes, you heard it right. SABBY, S-A-B-B-Y, the Cat. And yes, I have checked out SABBY the Cat's Twitter profile. And yes, it is indeed a cat tweeting. Thank you very much, SABBY, for being a new executive producer of this show. Well, let's kick off with the news, and following a teaser, really, 3 days ago or so, Porsche has revealed 6 images now of the new Taycan's cabin ahead of the September debut. It shows digitally immersive cockpit dials. Of course, they're not dials, are they? They're screens. They bring the company's interior design language into the 21st century, says Motor1.com. Well, the crown jewel of the Taycan's cockpit is this huge curved display. It's the display that sits on top of the steering column. It's 16.8 inches long. It's curved. It looks spectacular. Great design on this. It surrounds the driver, really. And then around that is some touch-capacitive buttons that control the headlights, the stability controls, the suspension firmness, and actually, if I'm reading this image right, you can even change the vehicle ride height using the buttons that are around the binnacle, if you like. If you go to the right of that on a left-hand drive car, go to the right of that, and you've got a new 10.9-inch touchscreen, kind of where you'd expect it, really, for infotainment. But if you keep going further right on a left-hand drive car, in front of the passenger, they've got a screen as well. And I'm not quite sure what that screen does, but it's kind of on some cars right in front of the passenger where there'd be the airbag. That's just a giant screen for the passenger. Oh well, fair enough. Looking forward to seeing what that does. When the screens are off, though, they really blend into the dash. It's been a great bit of design on the inside of the Porsche Taycan. There is a third, or if you count the passenger one, a fourth screen as well, and that is down where your right hand would neatly rest, as it were, and that's for your aircon, your HVAC controls, climate, stuff like that. It's got a haptic touchpad as well, and inside you can get an optional upholstery called Race-Tex, recycled polyester fibre, producing far less carbon dioxide from the production of that. The floor carpets use recycled materials as well. Clearly, they've been doing their market research on the kind of people that like to buy electric vehicles, and they're the kind of people who, I think, generally speaking, painting with broad brushstrokes, generally, if you buy an EV, you have an awareness about the world around you and your impact on. Otherwise, you wouldn't really care about buying an EV. That's not everybody, of course, but most people, I think it's fair to say, would take an interest in how their car is made and things like that. So people don't want leather. Many people don't want leather inside their cars. Okay, let's talk Tesla now. And Tesla's head of autopilot software, his name is Stuart Bowers. Well, it was. Well, I mean, his name is still that, but he's no longer at Tesla. He's left the car maker to work for a venture capital firm. Over the last few months, there's been actually several reports about a general restructuring of the autopilot team, says Electrek. Despite all the changes, Elon Musk is now taking more direct reports. Wasn't clear if Stuart Bowers had actually left the company or not. Now we have confirmation for the first time that the former head of autopilot has now left and joined another firm. Nothing to do with making cars, though. And yes, people leave big companies all the time, so this isn't just another story about somebody leaving Tesla, but generally, if Elon Musk is taking on more and more direct reports in the autopilot team, how hard must their life be? Like, it must be not only the most amazing job to do, but also really high pressure as well. There's that thing about flying close to the sun. You know, if you get to be in close contact with Elon every day and you're working on the autopilot, which is arguably, is it the most important thing that Tesla's working on right now? They've promised it for so long. You could argue it's the most important thing they're working on right now. It must be exhilarating, also terrifying at times. I'm not surprised there's a turnover, but interesting that he is getting his hands on directly, just as when the Model 3 started to ramp up, those stories of him sleeping at the factory. And he is a real hands-on CEO. I mean, you knew that already, so good luck to the team. Let's talk Sandy Munro. If you didn't know, Sandy Munro, an old-timer. He is experienced, let me say that. He had many years in the automotive industry. In the past, been very critical of Tesla, but now he seems to have changed his tune. In an hour-long interview about the ongoing transition to EVs, the interview was done by Sean Mitchell. Sean runs his All Things EV channel. On more than one occasion, Sandy Munro has claimed the issue with major car makers is the number of executives working at those places with what he says is MBAs. They have the tendency to believe in outsourcing as much as possible. And maybe this is a key reason why so many execs leave Tesla, because at Tesla you have to be focused on innovation and not just paying a contractor or finding the right supplier. You have to do a lot of the innovation work yourself, according to Clean Technica. I'll pop a link in the show notes if you want to watch this. It's a long video. Sean asks great questions. The sound isn't always the best in places, but don't do it if you're on maybe a noisy journey or something with your headphones in. But if you can get somewhere quiet, then have a watch, have a listen. Really interesting video. There's some real gems in here to pick out from what Sandy Munro is talking about. He knows how a car is made. In fact, he's someone who has bought a Model 3 before and stripped it down to its very last nut and bolt. His business, by the way, is doing that to cars, documenting what the cost would be of that washer, of that wire, and then selling that to other car makers, you know, how to build a Tesla and exactly how much it costs. From the YouTube comments of this video, I thought it was a really interesting one that I was going through them today. I was just, there's hundreds of comments, by the way, but this one from someone called Chi Feng says this: always refreshing to listen to Sandy. He's a non-fanboy Tesla praiser and always gives Tesla a fair amount of criticism. Any rational Tesla bull who wants unbiased views about Tesla's edge, Sandy is the one to go to. He is so familiar with the Detroit car corporation culture, and yet he has all the high regards of the Silicon Valley Tesla enterprise system. He does hold them in very high regard, by the way. And yes, he knows exactly how Detroit works. Interesting comment on the YouTube section. Well, in the UK, Volvo has just extended its range of cars, the S60 range, with a new plug-in hybrid option. Well, the plug-in hybrid comes with a four-wheel drive T8 twin-engine powertrain. It combines a petrol engine of 303 horsepower with an 87 horsepower electric motor. In that configuration, the S60 will do 36 miles or 58 kilometres of pure electric range as elect drive. The new plug-in hybrid has an impressive acceleration 0 to 62 in 4.6 seconds. And the new T8 twin-engine R-Design plug-in hybrid starts at about £49,800. That's €54,500. £49,000, you say? Let me have a look online. Oh, what am I looking at? It's a Tesla Model 3, dual motor, all-wheel drive, performance 0 to 60, somewhat quicker than that Volvo, 3.2 seconds. Top speed 162 miles an hour. Asking price, £49,000. Although, yes, you would want to add full self-driving, I'm guessing. That's £5,800, I think, in the UK at the moment. But if you're going to buy a Volvo plug-in, would you also take a Model 3 performance for a test drive? I'm not sure you'd want to give back the keys to the Tesla after you've tried a couple of launches. BYD, probably famous in many places for commercial vehicles, but BYD, the Chinese company Build Your Dreams, BYD, posted a 204% rise in first half profits yesterday on Wednesday as China's new energy vehicle market surges, says Automotive News Europe. The Shenzhen-based company, which is backed by Warren Buffett and whose products include full electric and plug-in hybrid cars, posted a net profit of 1.45 billion yuan, that is just over $200 million US, up from 479 million yuan only a year ago. BYD sold over 145,000 new energy vehicles in the first half of this year. That's up 95% year on year. Well, in this country, the government's technology advisory body has publicly called for the UK government to fast-track the ban on the sale of any petrol or diesel car by 5 years. They want to bring it forward to 2035. Then they want to banish privately owned vehicles from the road entirely, according to This Is Money. Well, it should bring forward the proposed ban on new cars and vans with any kind of combustion technology in, and it will hike fuel duty. The report is by the Science and Technology Committee, so this isn't any kind of law yet, but it's a strong recommendation of what the government should do. Right, 2 more stories, and first of all, Tesla has piloted a unique way of updating its vehicle software to add some new features and safety improvements remotely. It's adjusted its autopilots and introduced tweaks to improve battery life over the years, but now Tesla is using the same system to tune the Model S and the Model X suspension, says Engadget. Well, the latest software, which is 2019.28.3.1, makes adjustments to the adaptive suspension on those cars using new dampening algorithms to better handle speeds if you're doing more than 160 Ks. That's 100 miles an hour. It's going to be useful for drivers in places like Germany on the Autobahn, where those roads have no speed limits. And finally, talking Volkswagen, the Volkswagen brand is systematically driving its electric offensive and will be installing 4,000 charging points at the VW German sites by 2025. The first are already up and running, actually. Those 4,000 charging points are going to be phased in at German VW sites. There's 10 of them over the next 7 years. 100% renewable green power is going to be used to power them, and when combined with activities not only at their production sites but also at the VW dealerships, it means the Volkswagen Group is going to be responsible alone for 36,000 new charging points in Europe over the coming years. I'll pop a link to Volkswagen's website, press office, if you like, the link through to the press releases in my show notes. Let's get on to question of the week this week, and thanks to myev.com and submitted by one of our listeners, Brian C. Brian said this on an email to me, and I thought it was a great question. Petrol users pay by quantity. EV drivers should also pay by quantity. All charging companies must be required by law to charge by kilowatt hour, not by time or connection charge. Do you agree with this statement? Let me know. You can email hello@evnewsdaily.com, leave a comment on Facebook and on YouTube. Well, if you're heading along to EVs in the Park and you would like to pop the What 3 Words location in, the words are pest ruler maps. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then download What 3 Words, which is an app for your phones. You can use the website as well. They've divided the world up into 3 square meter blocks, if you like, and they chart the whole thing with 3 words. And the 3 words for that location is pest, ruler, maps. Check it out. It's called What 3 Words. And it's a ingenious way of finding your way around the world, or giving people an idea of where you are. Well, thank you very much to 241 patrons of the show. I get to make this show thanks to you. If you'd like to get any of the old shows, there's plenty online, 557 of those. All the new ones come first and free and automatically if you hit subscribe in your podcast app. If you want to catch up on the social, search EV News Daily. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow. And remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.